Hey Mason, it's great to see you today. We've been working a lot together on the Student Early Career Professional Special Interest Group, and I'm
Mhm.
really happy with a lot of the progress we made over the years. But even or over the year, but over this time, I've never really gotten around to asking you, how did you get involved and interested in injury and violence prevention?
If I'm honest, it was kind of a lucky bit of happenstance. I had come into my undergrad education really thinking I wanted to be a doctor. I've always wanted to help people and do the right thing, but ended up feeling like with working on medicine that I wasn't having as much of a systemic impact as I would have liked. And so I was exploring different career paths and different majors, and I didn't even know what public health was at that point, but I found the term community health. And so I Googled community health in the name of my undergrad institution, Washington University, and found a center at the school called the Center for Community Health Partnership and Research. And it worked out that that center not only did kind of general community health stuff, but then they also had a center for gun violence specifically. And so I ended up just by happenstance of working at that center, ultimately also working on gun violence stuff, and ended up digging a lot further into homicide and aggravated assault work, and ended up doing critical incident work as well, and just kind of did more and more of it and really loved it. And here I am today, about to start my full-time role, kind of digging a little bit further into IVP. But how about you?
Yeah, that's awesome, Mason. I kind of followed a very similar route. When I first went to college, I was going to be a biology teacher,
Oh,
and
wow.
I really liked the teaching aspect, but I realized early on that it wasn't what I was wanting out of my career. And so I started doing a little bit of digging around, and I got interested in public health. And so I
Mm-hmm.
started sort of mismatching them a little bit. And then I realized, oh, I can actually do research and teaching as a career if I continue to go on and get a PhD.
Uh-huh.
So I started to get more involved in public health, and I started to reflect a little bit about my experiences. And I always think back to my dad, who was a sheet metal worker who would get injured on the job, or
Mm-hmm.
my grandfather, who was a farmer who also got injured a lot on the job. And that's sort of how I got interested in injury and violence prevention work. Now I see a lot of my interests always go back to occupational injury, specifically farm injury, or going into some of the more rural related health problems such as suicide or fire violence even then. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's sort of how I've gotten involved in injury and violence prevention work. Um, but I'm also interested, Mason, how did you get involved with safe states?
I had the chance while I was working on my master's at UNC Chapel Hill to connect with a couple of folks that I believe now actually one of Ciara is now secretary, I believe, of Safe States. So one of my coworkers and supervisors at the UNC Injury Prevention Research Center had mentioned Safe States as a organization that's really kind of a hub for injury and violence prevention professionals across the US. And I wanted to connect with more folks that are doing this work, whether it be fellow students, fellow kind of mentors, not a fellow, I guess, or kind of other folks that were in this space of about to start their career, which really helps out with our student interest group. We'll get into that, I'm sure, because I'm kind of curious about how you started it. But yeah, they talked about it as a space to kind of build more of that connection, and got involved last year, and here I am today.
Hmm.
What led you to kind of get things going? How'd you get involved with Safe States?
Yeah, so when I started my PhD, I was looking for new ways to get involved. And so of course I'm interested in the research side of IVP. But I'm also interested in, okay, I did the research now. How can I actually implement this? And so
Mm-hmm.
I was looking for more practice-based, more policy-based organizations where I could actually introduce some of these IVP research projects I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I stumbled upon Safe States. In fact, when I was looking around on the Safe States site, I saw that the president-elect Lisa Roth, who is part of the University of Iowa's ICRC, was involved.
Oh,
And so, I'm like,
wow.
all right, well, if Lisa Roth is involved, then it's certainly a great organization. And so
Mm-hmm.
I started getting, or I looked into safe states and I decided, okay, I'll join it. And when upon join, I met Krista Thielen, who has been awesome, of course, as you know.
Yeah.
And she was like, "Well, you should potentially look into the at the time it was a student special interest group." And I was like, "Well, okay, that seems like a great idea. I can then network with different students, and I can learn a little bit more about the organization." What I didn't realize was that the student SIG was actually brand new at the time, and so upon realizing this and recognizing there was an opportunity here, I decided, oh, I'll throw my name into the ring and become vice chair at the time before becoming the chair.
Mhm.
So that's how I got involved with Safe States, and I've enjoyed my time so far. Well, how have you, or I guess, kind of talking about the Safe States student and early career professional special interest group? How have, or what has your experience been working on it now with, I believe, 8 months?
Yeah. Well, it's been a bit of a wild ride. I mean, it was sort of a similar thing where coming in, I didn't realize kind of how new it was. And it was a great opportunity early on. Because I was similarly, Krista had invited me to get involved and start connecting with other students, connecting with you, and kind of realizing fairly quickly and absolutely like inserting a bit of my own situation into the mix, knowing that I was about to kind of leave my student status. It was a great opportunity to start reflecting over the course of the past year about, hey, how do we kind of provide a space for folks that are maybe becoming students again later in their career, or space for folks who kind of just ended their student status, maybe won't return, but are still kind of building the early stages of their um, career in IVP. So it's been a good opportunity to really reflect on what are folks kind of in this space in life looking for, what do they want to do, and how can we provide a community for them. So I appreciate that opportunity, but I'm curious from your perspective, Victor, what kind of prompted you to kind of feel like this early career professional addition was a good pivot? And are you excited about anything in particular over the next few months?
Well, certainly, I'm excited with the growth of the special interest group, starting from just two people now moving on to a whole special interest group to match the numbers of other special interest groups. So I'm obviously excited about the amount of people who are now getting involved with the group.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, as I'm getting closer to graduation and I'm thinking about transitioning from the student role into the career role, and I know that you're going through that right now. I'm recognizing that the different challenges that there's going to be going from being a student to the early career.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm hoping with this special interest group, this creates not only a platform, but also a safe space for people to come and talk about how their transition is going from being a student to an early career professional. What problems are they running into? And then how can we help
Mm-hmm.
alleviate some of those problems? So there's definitely a lot of different things that I'm excited about with this group. I'm also excited to just put on more professional development and networking opportunities for the student and early career professionals, because that's not only what they want, but also it'll help them sort of water their roots and
Mm-hmm.
become the IVP professionals that we intend them to be. So, Mason, it's been really great to chat with you today. I hope the career search is going well, and
Thank you.
I hope to talk to you soon.
Yeah, sounds good. See you at our next meeting.
Yeah, see you in a little bit.